Good morning. Welcome to Where's Justice? My name is Queen Khalifa. Today, my panel guests are Malcolm Smith and Christopher Lex. Today, our topic is we will be discussing the shooting death of Mike Brown and the Ferguson uprising. I would like to begin my opening statement by reading an article from the Associated Press. They're saying that he was running from the police with his hands up in the air, according to Sonny Houston, a CNN legal analyst and a former prosecutor. I don't know what other witness testimony at this point we have to hear, but the bottom line is having your hands up in the air is a universal sign for surrender. The killing of Mike Brown, a young black man, by a white police officer set off a fierce wave civil unrest in Ferguson. The city has a majority population of black, but the leadership and the police officers in the department are nearly all white. The U.S. Department of Justice announced that it was opening an investigation into the Ferguson Police Department following accusations of Ferguson residents that the police are practicing racial profiling and other discriminatory measures. A local grand jury is investigating the killing death of Mike Brown in an effort to determine if Officer Wilson acted in self-defense. Now, one thing I would like to say is something that stood out to me was that according to the witnesses after Mike Brown was shot, everyone said that Mike Brown had his hands raised in the air. And my question, like many others, is how could an unarmed man with his hands in the air be shot multiple times? We don't know everything that happened before the moments of the shooting. However, should the officer have applied that much deadly force? It's unimaginable the events that occurred before and after the shooting of Mike Brown. The public is outraged, and all the violence that the protesters had to suffer to take a stand at what they felt was unjust. I really don't understand how and why such a tragedy could take place here in the land of the free and the home of the brave. I would like to make an important comparisons on different incidences. How can one man come into a movie theater and shoot and kill multiple people and get approached by the police and get arrested? It's like some kind of invisible double standard. I don't want to play the race card. However, it seems to be a very important factor in recent incidents. Both events are unrelated, weighing on the circumstances on the scale. There are a lot of black unarmed men being shot down for unjustified reasons. As I stated earlier about what stood out to me, the majority of the witnesses that were interviewed right after the shooting, they had their hands in the air. And one point that I would like to make is that the footage of most of the pictures that I saw of the protesters, everyone had their hands in the air as well. I'm going to pause for a moment, and I would like to hear from my panel regarding my opening statement.
Well, it seems like, Queenie, that there is a real double standard when it comes to the way law enforcement goes about enforcing the law. Police are supposed to be there to help people and to preserve order and to make sure that everybody is safe. And if the police have to act and intervene and arrest somebody, well, certainly they have to be careful because they are in the line of fire, so to speak, and they certainly are the object of some scorn and disdain from people. So naturally they're going to be on the defensive. Police have to do that because they need to be in control of the situation to protect themselves. So I can see. I don't think I can handle being a policeman because I think everybody looking at you and having a little bit of attitude or maybe some fear or certainly some trepidation. Even in the thing, if you're on the freeway and you see a police car approach you and you automatically look at your speedometer and slow down. Everybody's a little bit nervous around law enforcement, right? You know that feeling,
yes.
I'm sure. We all do.
Yes.
And so I don't know what it's like to be a person of color or an African American, but I certainly have many friends that have imparted to me. And in fact, one time I owned a business and I had an employee, very valuable person working for me in my business in a position of responsibility, and part of his responsibility was to drive. And it was in basically a white community, but Henry drove the truck, and I don't know how many times that they would pull him over for no reason, because he was the wrong color, I guess, and driving in this truck. This was some time ago, but it dawned on me that this is a real double standard here. it's really not fair treatment. I don't exactly know what that might feel like, but I think it's a real problem, and I hear about it frequently. And then, in a law enforcement situation, if someone is approached by the police, or, you know, as what do the police call it, made contact with, naturally they may be scared or nervous, or some reason they may not want to talk to the police.
Right.
So right away they have some fear reaction going on. And police, being human beings, I'm sure they can feel it, they can smell it, they can sense it. You can all tell when somebody's a little bit scared. And so when people are scared as human beings, we're going to react. And sometimes we get a little adrenaline or something. And I'm just supposing here, supposition a little bit. But they may act inappropriately or try to take off or maybe fight the police or who knows what. The cop doesn't know, right, what's going to happen. He may be just a nice guy on the way to Macy's or working for some guy, in my case, on his way to a job or something or other. But the cops don't know that. So I can see that they act a little weird. But shooting people is just not right. And
yes.
Like you said, the guy in the movie theater, he goes in there dressed like Batman. Batman character, orange hair, an automatic machine gun, and a bulletproof vest. He goes into a movie theater and unloads his weapon on everybody and shoots all these people. And a bunch of cops come, and then what happens?
He gets arrested. Yeah, he gets arrested.
I don't know. Sometimes I read a lot in the local media here, and in the you know, about things that are the way folks of color are treated just ever so much differently. And I don't know. I would like to hear more about that in this little discussion that we're having today.
Okay. Well, Malcolm, I'd like to hear from you. What is your input on the, you know, the shooting death of Mike Brown and the Ferguson uprising?
In my personal opinion, from a black man's perspective, I think it was totally wrong. His hands were up, so he was totally surrendered. But yet he's gonna get all. How many shots? How many times was he shot again?
I believe it was 6 to 7 times.
6 to 7 times.
Yes, 6 to 7 times.
His hands is up.
And
surrendered.
I believe 2 bullets were in his hand and hand and arm. Yes, yes.
And they just gonna shoot him dead like a dog like that.
Yes.
To me, that's totally wrong, because here they did that to Oscar Grant, Alan Bluford. They
yes.
did that to Trayvon Martin.
Yes.
In Florida now, Michael Brown. So
yes.
It's just a reoccurring occasion when it comes to us. So it's, to me, we don't get any justice, and I think this is just one circumstance or one incident out of many. So
yes.
So it's not fair at all. It's
yes.
a travesty of justice.
Yes. Well, I think what had the public more outraged was that there were witnesses present. You know, at the time, there was people that recorded it with their phones. You know, the incident. You know, like right after, there's a video of YouTube of Mike Brown laying there in the ground, and there was, you know, a few witnesses that just really was outraged, saying, you know, I had this one report that I was going to do, and, you know, the guy was cussing. He said he had his freaking hands in the air, and it was a construction worker, and he was really upset. He was the one interviewed by CNN, and they just couldn't understand that. Okay, we don't know the incidents that happened right up before that, but like the statement was made, with your hands in the air, that's a universal sign for I surrender. So if you surrender and you don't have a weapon, how am I a threat to you for you to have to kill me? You know,
non-threatening position.
You know, yeah, I have my hands raised in the air,
shoot or whatever,
and how am I a threat? You see, I don't have any weapons, so I don't.
You know, I think it might be a part of a dehumanization process. I was at Occupy Oakland 2 years ago. Actually lived there in Frank Ogawa Plaza, Oscar Grant Plaza, for a month, and was there and witnessed a lot of riots. There are 2 big riots. A lot of police action. The riot police all standing there elbow to elbow with the sticks and the masks and the whole thing. In fact, I was as close to them as much closer than I wanted to be. A whole line of them. In fact, they were charged up and they were ready to act. A big row of cops from 3 counties,
right?
A couple hundred of them, all in a row in Oscar Grant Plaza, just a block from here practically. And they were lined up ready to take out something. They're scared, their adrenaline's pumped, they're like the football team ready to, you know, take the next guy. They're going to do their thing. And and there was tension, and there were people lined up, the row of them and a row of other people, the occupied folks, you know, nice folks, and they were just not really that threatening. If you were there, you know, they're kind of a peaceable bunch.
Right.
And it's just it's something ready to go off there. So, and they ended up shooting a guy who was a veteran.
Yes.
You know, because
I'm aware of that.
The cops looked at him as less than human. They didn't see a human being, a veteran.
Right.
He wasn't a person of color, but he was just part of the crowd.
Yes.
And he was in the way. And they shot him with a rubber bullet. And
Right.
didn't kill him, but messed him up forever.
Right.
And the police officer got in a lot of trouble for that. So
Right.
I think they look at people not as human beings, like one person to another.
Ooh, yes.
It's just, you're them, it's them and us.
Yes.
Which is a bad thing.
Yes. Well, it's a lot of that going on in recent news. It's like an outrage, even before the Oscar Grant incident, but more so now. Every time you turn around, someone is being, you know, shot down for, I mean, unjustified reason. I would think that the person that went inside the movie theater that killed multiple people and wounded children and multiple people, I would think that would be a threat. I would look, you know, I would think that person would be the one getting shot down, but someone for innocent stealing something out of a store, if that was the case per se, I don't think that's enough reason to be shot down like an animal. I don't think that's a justified reason to be shot
Sounds like
down.
a real overreaction on the part of the police.
Yes.
To just, and I think they, well, I use the word categorize certain people. They'll profile them. I think they will look at someone and say, well, okay, and the police will act differently towards one person or another. You know, I live in Berkeley, and a lot of times I'm not dressed to appear here with you or at my offices. You know, I just look like I'm the Berkeley guy.
Yes.
Kind of like, you know, how people look in Berkeley, a little bit shabby, and that kind of plays there.
Yes.
And I will have to tell you from my own personal experience that I can walk down the very same street, Shattuck Avenue, wearing camo shorts and funny looking shoes and a leather jacket, and people approach you a certain particular way. But
Yeah.
when I am going to my offices or to work and looking like I do today,
Yes.
it's a whole different thing. Like I can walk into the same business and sit down and open my computer and really not buy anything and just sit in there for the longest of time.
Yes.
But if you go into there not looking the way that they may want you to, or rather differently, let's put it, you can't do that.
Yes.
So it's a big difference in the way that folks are treated. And even me just dressing differently, I notice a gigantic change
Right.
in the way people treat you.
Right.
So it's a matter of the perception of the person, in this case the law enforcement officer. He sizes people up and makes a decision, and it has a big effect. So it's a mindset.
Right. Okay, I would like to go over an article that was written by a former ex-Marine, and he's going to explain the weapons of war that were being used in Ferguson. And this is written by Lyle Jeremy Rubin. There are scattered reports of stun grenades used in Ferguson, also known as flashbang flash grenades. This weapon of choice for American SWAT teams or Israeli soldiers originated in the British Special Force community more than 4 decades ago. Stun grenades have been known to kill or severely injure numerous victims. They are designed to temporarily blind and deafen thanks to a sharpenable-free casing that is only supposed to emit light and sound upon explosion. Before moving to the ammunition most visible in the media, it is important we consider the machines that they were being shot. The most likely culprit is a Arwin 37, which is capable of discharging 37 millimeter tear gas canisters or wooden bullet projectiles. Another possibility is the SL6, a 37 millimeter short rotary magazine projectile launcher that is seemingly capable of firing every relevant non-lethal round in the book. When a Marine or other warfighter is introduced to one of these for the first time, he likely thinks of a M203 grenade launcher as a point of comparison. This is because they are all in the same family. They are all grenade launchers. The police used tear gas unsparingly during the protests, and it was perhaps the most disturbing ingredients in the stew. As we have noted, the Chemical Weapons Convention of 1993 actually banned the gas as a permissible means of warfare. Then again, it is allowed for domestic riot control, and nations like Turkey, Bahrain, Israel, and the United States have exploited the loophole to a great avail. Now, I would like to hear comments on how do you feel about the weapons that were being used this time. I'm going to go with Malcolm first.
Stun grenades. Say those weapons again.
They were...
The stun grenades, tear gas.
They were stun grenades.
Tear gas.
The tear gas.
And what else?
Tear gas canister, wooden bullets, and a possibly...
wooden bullets?
Yes, wooden bullets.
Go on.
Projectiles, and a possibly SL6, a 37 millimeter six-shot rotary magazine projectile launcher.
Wait a minute, launcher? We talking grenade launcher?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go on.
And there was also, let's see, they said when a Marine uses an M203 grenade launcher, as a point of comparison, well, they compared either the Airwin 37, which is capable of discharging the 37 millimeter tear gas, or SL6, a 37 millimeter six-shot rotary magazine.
It's like you said, they getting prepared for war.
Yeah.
On some innocent, unarmed black folks.
Well, it wasn't just black people. If you looked at the footage that was there, it wasn't just black people. It was a lot of different footage where even the media. I saw some footage where they had the media that was being shot at. Yeah, they had the media out there saying, "Hey, what media?" They didn't care. They just were boom. It was just, and they said, "Did you see that?" So they had the media because they didn't even want the media out there reporting some of the things that were happening out there, so they didn't care. I seen them shoot at the media. I seen the media get shot at with the rubber bullets or whatever explosions that they shot at the media with. They didn't even want the media out there to record and present to the people what was happening.
It's like he said, the militarization of the police force for us, not just black or white, for the American people. That's what it looks like to me.
What do you think about the weapons that were used?
Well, first of all, I made a habit ever since Occupy to try to take photographs or video, if I can, with the camera, the little smartphone that we all have, of police in action. Now, I don't like creep up on them and crowd them because they get funny, and I don't want to get to be the subject of their full attention. But I will stand across the street discreetly and hold up a camera for a minute, kind of hide a little bit, just to take a few minutes of video, or a minute or two, or just something on Instagram, who knows, because I think it's important to do that, because they will act badly if they think nobody's looking. Right. And then, of course, from a law enforcement point of view, and I'm certainly not their biggest fan in the world, but certainly they're necessary. And they might say, well, that some of them are having to wear the cameras on their uniform to record all their activity, which is good for them, because a citizen could say, well, the cop did this or that or the other. Right. The cop can say, well, no, he didn't. No, I didn't. Here's the thing. But on the other hand, it's like having somebody look over their shoulder, just because they might know that they are being monitored and their actions are subject to review on video, so they may act differently. Now, about this weaponry, here in Oakland, not far from here, you hear that term, it sounds kind of cute. What do they call it, flashbang? Yes, flashbang. It sounds like 4th of July. Like, oh yeah, we all know flashbang. That's like things, we buy stuff on purpose around 4th of July just to make noise because it's cool. Right. Well, I have been nearby, within a half a block at 14th and Broadway when they set those things off. And believe you me, they are not firecrackers. They are not something you can get 4th of July. They make a huge noise. It's a big noise. It listen to me. It resonated off all those office buildings, the Clorox building and the bank buildings that are there. You could hear it for blocks. It's a huge noise. It's bigger than any sonic boom you've ever heard. We've all heard a sonic boom from a jet. Well, it's 10 times louder than that. And it's right there, and it catches you by surprise. So if it's supposed to momentarily disorient you so that the police can act, well, it's going to do that because it's a loud, loud, loud noise. And while I was there, I was just minding my own business. I really didn't want to be involved in a riot or in police action or anything like that, because I don't want to be in the middle of that. I don't want to get hit over the head with a big wooden stick. on the street, victims of tear gas attack by the police, and here in Oakland. And you know, they're messed up. They're crying, they're spitting, they're coughing, and it's kind of a mess. It's incapacitating. So that militaries, and that's just stuff that's been around forever. I mean, this isn't new stuff. Since 9/11, people are afraid, and so the government reacted by giving military equipment to local police departments, and fire trucks to fire departments, and all this, and ambulances in the event of some horrible catastrophe. But what ends up happening, police have this military equipment and urban assault vehicles, which are just tanks, you know, and they're all in there. They're not this Humvee, it's not a Jeep, it's like a tin can that nobody can shoot at them in, you know? And what are they going to do with it? I mean, there's no Al-Qaeda here coming around here. They're all over in Syria killing folks over there. It's not happening here, you know. The terrorists are not organized enough to have this gigantic military response on the part of local police departments. I can't imagine. I mean, they're not going to invade. This is the U.S. of A. There's not going to be soldiers running and the police need to act. So who are they going to use this stuff on? They've got all this neat gear, right? They've got military assault weapons, automatic weapons, and what is that thing, the rotary gun, the thing, the six-shot magazine rotary?
That was a 37 six-shot rotary magazine projectile launcher.
Yeah, that's like the Gatling gun. It goes around in a circle and shoots 6 of them in a row, and then you put in another one and shoot 6 more. I mean, what is some kind of war zone? So the bottom line is, local police departments have all this millions of dollars worth of stuff that they give them, and they get to play with it on the weekend in China and think about it. And like anybody that has a toy, a boat, maybe we get a boat, or a set of golf clubs, or a tennis racket, or something or other, we're going to want to play with it, right? And they've got it all sitting in their barn, and something happens, and they get hinky, and out comes the heavy artillery. Now, who are they going to use it against? There's no terrorists. It's you and me. It's you going to the grocery store. It's you going to work, waiting for the bus. It's me waiting for a bar train. So it's scary. They don't need any more. They certainly don't need to give them any more. I don't see if they're taking it away.
Okay, well, as I bring Word to Justice to close, I'd like to thank my panel guests for their comments and their inputs on the shooting death of Mike Brown and the Ferguson uprising. I hope we were able to shed some light concerning the issues that we addressed here. Thank you for your time and patience. See you on the next segment of Where is Justice?